Hello my lovelies and welcome back to Allotment of the Dead. So I spent probably 3 hours or so yesterday digging over the area that I was going to do my tomatoes, and that is the plan for tonight. I'm going to try and get them all in the ground because they're getting a little bit leggy and time is ticking on. There's only so many months left in the season and these are all going to be outside, so for me to get some decent crops off these before the blight gets them, because chances are outdoor tomatoes or growing any tomatoes outdoors are prone to those kind of late fungus infections that cause that blight. So I've brought all of the tomatoes out of the new build, which is where I had them. I've kept them watered, but they do look a bit bedraggled. So I do need to try and get them in the ground, feed the ground locally about where I'm planting them, and actually give myself a fighting chance of getting some produce this year. So let's show you what we're doing. Okay, so this is the area that we're going to be putting the stuff in. It's still not a fine tilth, which is kind of, I'm not trying to grow carrots though, I suppose. I really could have done with a rotavator really, just to break the ground up a little bit more, but the ground underneath these clods on the top does seem okay, and I'm going to kind of feed around the tomatoes that I'm planting as I'm planting them, so that they can hopefully at least locally take those nutrients that they need. By doing it this way as well, I'm hoping that I don't get a massive amount of weeds like you'd kind of get if you kind of feed a whole area. That being said, the minute I start putting water around, I'm going to start getting those annual weeds coming up, and probably even some of the perennial dock leaves and things like that. Right, these are the tomatoes in question. So I did say I was going to plant about 6 different varieties this year. There's already flowers on some of these, and they're quite leggy plants that I think that little bit of stress unfortunately has made them start to put out flowers and try and actually set some fruit. But I'm hoping that a little bit of fertilizer, a little bit of chicken manure around each of the plants hopefully should spur them on a little bit, get the growth going. So we've got a mixture of plants here. So I was only going to grow 6 varieties. It turns out to be about 20 varieties in the end, because I got sent a load from Ali in Canada, my rusty garden. Just give me another headache, I think, though, really, because it's been so difficult for me to find time for this year. But I'm going to do it. I'll get them in the ground. If we get something out of them this year, then great. I think I've spent way too much time on my chilies this year, and they're doing really well in there. I definitely will be doing another tour in there, show you what's going on once I've given that a bit of a weeding. But yeah, variety of different types. So you've got these nice large varieties here. So these ones here are, you kind of get 2 different leaves on tomatoes. So you get this kind of proper tomato leaf, where you get these nice little leaves that are kind of, majority of your tomatoes are going to be like this. Some of your larger varieties of tomato have, I mean, this one's called Green Giants, but they have these, what we call potato leaf look about them. So the leaves are a lot bigger. If I can, I'll show you the actual leaves on the potatoes I've got growing at the moment as well, just so you can compare. And you'll be able to see the difference there. But yeah, these larger varieties of kind of nice big beef tomatoes should hopefully still do well. We'll see how it goes. And I have got some at this end. These are the blight resistant varieties. So we've got Burlesque, Crimson Crush, Crimson Cocktail. So we'll put those in. So the plan is to put a frame up of some kind, maybe 2 rows of canes, just to give them the support, which I'll run some other canes kind of upwards. I've got quite a few of the green canes that I haven't used so far to actually help support the tomatoes. But yeah, I bought another load of canes previously, which I have used for the beans. So the beans are all over there. And let me just show you these sweet peas. I'm quite happy with these this year. They've absolutely done really, really well. Absolute gorgeous colours. Can't beat the colours on some of these. Kind of deep maroons, and I think this one here is Erebus, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I could have probably grown those up canes, but I didn't. But yeah, my beans are doing pretty well over there. So they're doing what they need to do. At least I've got them in the ground. Courgettes as well while we're here. They're throwing out some new growth. Plenty of weeds around though, so this is going to need a weeding at some point. I'll try and put a hoe round on most of these. We'll see how that goes. Right, let's get back to the task in question, and we'll start getting this frame up. Right, okay, so we'll start by putting up a rudimentary frame here, a bit like we've done with the beans. So again, gardener's best friend, maybe not because it's plastic, but absolutely and totally easy to use. I know there's going to be lots of people that are kind of pro recycling, that sort of thing, which will probably sit in their graves at the moment. Apologies, not my intention to upset anybody, but there we go. You can't win them all, is what they say. Right, so your first thing is just to make sure this last side here is nice and secure. So again, this is just going to form the basis to actually run a bar all the way along, just to give a little bit of strength to the support system that I'm putting in place for these tomatoes. They don't necessarily need anything as strong as what I'm putting in, but it will be quite useful in the long run. Right, so this is going to be a really long row of tomatoes. These are only 6-foot canes. I'm not anticipating any of these tomatoes getting massive, but they might do, in which case then we'll have to kind of maybe chop the tops out, something like that. But again, I usually try and let them do their own thing, really. Plants, when they do their own thing, will generally do okay. Right, that's that. Right, and then we're probably going to have some cross beams so we get an idea as to how far along we're going to be. Right, let's just grab a couple of long canes. So these are the long ones that we're going to get the crossbars over. So probably have to have one in the middle there. Right, so that's what we're heading for. So again, we'll put 2 in there and there. Again, we'll tie them together. This is where they're going to be crossing. Okay, that's the basic structure. Now, the green poles I've got probably aren't big enough for these particular ones. I'm going to put in the blight resistant varieties all the way at the back. They're going to probably have the most water because it's going to come off the polytunnel. So there's going to be a lot of moisture around there. So I'll put those varieties there first. And I'm going to try and keep them in sections so I know exactly which ones are where. Okay. The other option I've got then is to put the tomatoes against the canes upright, like so, or so it'd be like that. Again, tie it into the frame, make it nice and secure. Or the other option I've got is I use my curly canes. Right, I'll just go and grab those. Okay. Right, so I have my metal canes here. So these are these curly canes, and I've picked these up from, I think it was Lidl, probably about 5 or 6 years ago now. You do get that added bonus of that nice kind of silver shining effect in the plot as well, which is quite nice. Again, these are quite good for the growing tomatoes to grow up against. So those will fit in quite nicely into here. So that's kind of where we're going to be at. Right, so let's set out the tomatoes where we're going to want them. So cocktail crush, burlesque. So burlesque is a big beef tomato. Cocktail crush on one side. So this is a nice little cocktail tomato. And then we've got crimson crush as well. Lots of cocktail crush. Oh, I've got two in that one. I might plant them together. Smaller varieties. Burlesque, again, we'll put that in the middle. Cocktail crush. Quite a few of those. Cocktail crush. Right, see if I can find the crimson crush. It looks like I might not have them in the same place. Oh, there's one. Okay. Crimson crush. Crimson crush. So crimson crush will stick at this end here. Again, I've got two plants together, quite a few of these, but oh well, not to be helped, it'll be fine. Burlesque, cocktail crush. Burlesque. Crimson crush seems to be a little bit more stocky than the cocktail crush, which is a bit of a longer plant. Right. Okay, they seem to be the ones I found, so lots of crimson crush, crimson cocktail, a few crimson crush, and a few burlesque or 3 burlesque. There must be more than that. Let me have a look. I try not to stand too much on the ground here. Okay, right. So we'll start at the far end here. I'm going to top dress all of these with the chicken manure and also some bloodfish and bone. Again, it's the same as if you were going to be putting these inside a greenhouse or polytunnel. Every single one of these plants has got hairs on the plant up to about here, so you can bury them below that particular area there, and they'll put out extra roots in that area. Okay. We'll put one of the canes in. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. The ground is quite soft here, so these will get buried quite deep. Nice little root structure, a root system on them. Even though they've been in these pots for a long time. That smell of tomatoes, it's very nice, overpowering at times. But again, doing what it needs to do. Right, another hole. Okay, so that's nearly the first row of my tomatoes. I'll put a few more of a different kind in that gap there, and we'll start making the next row and plant some more. I'm going to give myself a space probably about this wide so that I can actually go down between them. I do have space in my aubergine house for probably 4 to 6 plants as well, so I'm going to keep probably 6 different ones and put into the new build, not the new build, sorry, into the aubergine house in there. They're going to be fighting with ants and things in there as well, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so they're all nicely tied in, so at the moment I don't think I need to tie them in with my tying in tool, but this is generally what you do. Just again keeps them going against the support you put in, nice and gentle. Okay, right, I'll get back to you when I've done the rest, and then we'll see how they looks from there. Right, day 2 in the Big Brother house. No, it's day 2 of this kind of tomato planting session, and what a difference a day makes. This overcast, absolutely moody. Looks like it's going to try and rain or something. Probably wouldn't do too bad, but yeah, okay, let's have a look at the tomatoes I've planted. So I've got 3 really decent rows of tomatoes here now. I'm going to give these a good water in. Some of these probably should be grown inside polytunnels or greenhouses or things like that. They're probably not going to fare too well outside, but I've got so many chilies inside the polytunnels that I don't have much choice on this one. So they're all outside. I've got a good few plants here, and hopefully I'll get some decent tomatoes. We'll see what happens. I'm all for being one of those gardeners that put something in the ground and hopefully nature will do its bit and grow it. But yeah, okay, let's go and have a look, see what else we've got planting wise here for tomatoes wise. Okay, we'll just give you another look at these as we go past. Even in this kind of overcast weather, that little bit of colour in this darkness, absolutely gorgeous. Right, let's go to the rest of the plot here. Right, so I've had to put a few slug pellets down. I don't really like putting much in the way of slug pellets down. Organic ones, of course, but the slugs have had an absolute field day with the sunflowers here. So I'm going to give myself a fighting chance in getting some of those. Right, so I've got all of the RAF ones there. So all of these are supposed to be bush varieties, and they're going to go in the ground here. I'll put one of the spiral aluminium canes next to them. I think they probably won't need it, but we'll see what happens. The banging you're hearing is one of my neighbours who's deciding to fix a lawnmower. Obviously, you fix lawnmowers with a Scottish screwdriver, or a hammer, as we like to call them here. But there we go. So there's a few more. I think the wind has just blown these down. So these will go inside the aubergine house here. And I've got all of these set up in here. My absolutely rubbish rotavator, bless it, that died. And these are what I'm going to plant in here. So have a look at these. These are absolutely, I mean, these look knackered before you put them in, but then they look knackered for the entire duration of their lives. These are the Brad's Atomic Grape tomato plants, and it's consistent. I mean, if it was the odd plant that looks awful, you'd say, okay, then it's the way I'm growing them. I mean, yeah, probably some of it's the way I'm growing them, but they've never looked great. They always look as if they're about to die on you. Right, I'm going to get these in the ground, and then I'll show you this last bit of the tomatoes, getting them in the ground, and we'll leave it there, I think. Okay, what a difference a day makes. So it was about 29 degrees yesterday. I think it's about 18 today. I don't think it's got anything more than about 22. But that little bit of relief from that heat is probably a good thing, because the polytunnels have been kind of 43 degrees or so. I mean, it was 41.5 in here. Probably not today, that was probably yesterday. But yeah, really hot temperatures, and I think we're due for some rain anytime now as well. So right, We'll get these in the ground. Again, not going to overthink it. Make a nice little hole. Take out one of the things that was there before. Oh, that was aubergine previously planted in there. Right, and again, I'm going to bury these quite deep. So hopefully they'll put out more little rootlets next to where those little hairs were. Right, we'll stick one of these in the ground next to it as well. Okay. Right, so we're going to have 7 potentially in here. So we'll have another one here. Again, a nice little pole. Okay. That's 2. I was going to put some of these Brad's Atomic outside, but I think they'll do better inside. And I do like these, especially for making things like chutneys and things. So right, we'll go here next. I've had to dig out a load of bindweed from in here. They do seem to do well in here because of the heat. But it's one of those ones you have to keep pulling out. Hopefully makes it a little bit weaker as time goes on, but we'll see how that works out. Right. There's a nice little spider running around here. As you can tell from my short the other day, I quite like spiders, although the wife doesn't. Okay. Let's get another one here. We've got the 2 hanging baskets in here still to plant up, so they're going to have melons in, I think. And we'll use the structure here for them to grow across and see what happens. Right. He's having a proper go at that lawnmower. Right. On to the next one. So I did have ants in here probably about 3 weeks ago, and black ants a little bit easier to get rid of, so they've gone now. This ground was already quite good because this is kind of just the compost from the hotbed, so it's quite nutrient rich. It's got a lot of manure and things like that in it, so hopefully these should do quite well this year. Give it a good hammer. Okay. I've already got some flowers on these. I don't particularly want flowers yet, so I'm going to take those off. I think this plant needs to try and get a bit bigger before it puts down the fruit, really. I think there's a few of them. Okay. I don't want fruit on these yet. Right. So I'll take the flowers off for now. They can grow a bit bigger, hopefully. Okay. I'll put 2 in there. I'll train them up different ways if they get big. We'll see how that goes. I think that was the one. They were kind of the weediest ones. Left them together. We'll stick a pole in anyway. They might not get very big, those. That's why I planted them underneath the basket. Okay. Okay, the rest of the ground in here I'm going to try and use for other things that I haven't planted yet, and see how that goes. Oh, looks like the hound of the Baskerville's going there now as well. Proper noisy tonight. Right. Last one. Okay, so that's the Brad's Atomic grape all in. All I need to do with these now is give them a good watering, which I will do shortly. Right, we'll go on to do the RAF ones. Okay. I think I'm going to have to probably, ouch, plant the tripod in the ground to actually stop this from falling over. Okay, we'll see how that works out. So RAF ones are considered, as I've said before, the most expensive tomato in the world, mainly because they've got a fungus resistance. Right, let's set these out where we're going to put them. I've got some borage growing here as well, and I think I'm going to let that continue to grow because that will help to keep some of the nasty bugs off these tomatoes. So we'll have a couple of rows like so, and then we'll stick another one. So stick it at the back. Yeah, let's stick that one at the back like that. There we go. So that's what we're going to do. Right, let's go and get the hori and make this happen. Okay, the wind here is getting quite strong now. Okay, I've got an idea where they're going now, so that'll be fine. Okay, so we'll start with these at the back. And again, these RAF ones, although they're kind of been genetically built to be fungus resistant, they're not a particularly big tomato plant, supposedly. So they grow quite small, kind of a couple of feet, not very big at all, really. And they start setting fruit quite when the actual plant itself is quite small. So, or at least that's what it says. I've not grown these before. Let's put that back in. So that's a borage. See if it will grow still there. They don't root very well. Right. So we'll have a go here. I am going to top dress all of these with a bit of blood fish and bone and some chicken manure, I think. Again, just to give them a little bit of a start. Because again, these plants aren't really at the stage where they're starting to set flowers or anything. So there's a little bit of time still. Gives them a little bit of time to grow a bit bigger. Okay. So this one's flowering. You've got a kind of a double flower there. That's coming off, I'm afraid. Right, I can go in there. Right, so we'll again bury them deep. They've got the hairs the same as every other tomato, pretty much every other Solanum species really. So there we go. And then we'll have another one here. Now I know the cucumbers I planted here have pretty much died big time. The lovely pigeons decided they didn't just want my kale for their dinner, they wanted my cucumbers as well. So unfortunately they've gone off to cucumber heaven, but such is nature. Right, 3 more to go. Again, that one's got a bit of a flower on. I'll take that off as well. Right. Again, I'm not too fussed that I'm planting them a little bit closer, because as I say, these plants are quite small. This could be famous last words. These might be, might end up ginormous. In which case, then I've learned something new. I.e., don't listen to the websites and the people you actually get these off. Okay. I would have liked to have probably rotivated this area before I planted, but it's died, so I can't. So I've used the tiller tool and it's done okay to an extent, but nothing brilliant. Partly my impatience, I think. Right, so this is the last one. So that is the last RAF. Oh gosh. Right. Let's put these groovy canes in. Just like I said, these are bush tomatoes, so they probably won't need these, but we'll see. I'm not going to tie them in just yet either. That wind on the stems will help to make the plants a little bit stronger. Okay. Another flower there, we'll take that one off. Oh, God, he fell over then. Okay, so that's the RAF sorted. Okie dokie. So all that's left to do is give it a water. Right. So it's taken me probably the best part of 3 days to actually get these tomatoes in the ground from actually being able to do it in the first place. So that whole day of digging, I'm not sure how I'm even standing at this point. My back and my legs are a bit struggling, but this is what it is. You have to do these things to reap the rewards at the end of it. So that's kind of what we're doing. So yeah, whole day of preparation, the ground, and then the planting, setting up the structures, that sort of thing. Another couple of days. So they're in now. At last, I've been actually, I suppose, whinging about the fact that I hadn't got these in yet. I think my wife was fed up of hearing me talking about it, really. But they're in, so good. Right, so onwards and upwards, as they say. What I've got left to do now, other than plant a few more bits and pieces around here, I'll probably throw a few lettuces in here and there. I've got some cabbages can go in this bit of ground here still as well. I think I'll do that. And then there's still some flowers kicking around as well. I can put those in. The other thing I need to do is move some of that staging out of the polytunnels and use that staging to actually display the poison plant pots outside, because I want to give myself a bit more room inside the polytunnels so I can get at the chilies a little bit easier. And it helps with watering, feeding, that sort of thing as well. So we'll see how that goes. Right, so again, this might be a long one, sorry. But again, it's one of those things that unfortunately it's taken me a long time to do, because I'm not really the spring chicken I used to be. Anyway, that's all for tonight, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video. I've got the squashes and everything to put in at the end, so that'll be one of the next ones. Again, vertically growing up the metal structures at the end there. Again, need to get them in before they actually start stunting the growth and things as well. So yeah, it's going to be a job over the next weekend or so. So yeah, difficult times because of work and everything else, as you'd expect. Trying to fit an allotment in around work is a nightmare. Some of the plots on here are immaculate, and it's basically because the guys have retired and they come down here every day. I'm so looking forward to that time. I could do with a few weeks off, I think, just to rest and recuperate and pick myself up again and see where we go from there. But there we go. So all the best, guys. Take care. Bye bye.